Alright, it's been a while since I've actually done an update of my i3. It's gone through some changes. I'm not sure if you can actually see them, depending on if you've seen my previous videos. The X-axis motor end has changed. I've also rotated the motor on the mount so it's facing the opposite direction to what it normally would be, so that the control electronics, which is in this box that's mounted on the back of the frame, could actually clear the X-axis movement, otherwise it would have bound up. The wiring has undergone some major cleanup. The control box obviously is not sitting on the table anymore. The other thing I've done is been able to print up a control box for the LCD controller. Just trying to get the right angle on the screen. Unfortunately, because of the current light, not sure if I'm going to be able to get a good angle on this screen. Nah, I'll probably have to do this in daylight. The other thing I've done is the filament's no longer suspended above the machine. It's actually being fed through this eyelet all the way back to the back. I've still got to make some form of spindle holder to actually hold the spindle so it's not just being suspended on a table. I've got to clean up some more of the wiring, but apart from that, it's pretty much in a fairly good, easy state. It's been very reliable. I had a failure of a MOSFET on the heated bedside a couple of months, probably about a month ago. Unfortunately, this heated bed draws too much current for it to handle without dying, and I've since had to order a replacement FET, solder that in, and have since switched to using a relay to control the current directly to the heat bed. It's being fed directly off the power supply through a fuse, so it's unlikely to burn any of the electronics out on the RAM's board anymore, but there's a risk that you'll end up burning out, blowing a fuse or burning out the heated bed itself. This part is actually a X-axis carrier. It's actually the part that the extruder is mounted to and moves backwards and forwards on. The current one has got a crack in it. It's been running like this for probably about a month, but ultimately it'll end up probably failing, so I'd rather have a replacement and be able to replace it in the event it does break, rather than have to resort to printing on the other machine, which I'm going to do some modifications to that and probably do some videos later on, but I want to try and break the signals out from the RAM board I was using for temperature control and get that to control the X, Y and Z axis on the CNC machine, because I think the parallel port can't provide the signal, the square wave, to actually be able to get it above its speed limitations at the moment. I'm not sure if it's actually just the physical limitations of the motors, or it's just that the parallel controller I have been using in the past just can't handle the speed that I'm trying to move it at. I suppose I'll find out when I've worked on that project, and I'll probably provide an update to that too. But no, this I've been very happy with. It's been very reliable. This is actually the second filament I've put through it. The original blue, which some of these blue parts were all printed in, this is actually PLA. I've switched back to ABS. I find it's much better for stronger parts. The PLA's got a tendency to break and stress, so I'd rather, even though you have problems with having to run this at a higher temperature, the heated bed for this example is running at 110. For PLA it runs at about 60, drops down to 55 after the first couple of layers. The extrusion temperature for ABS this ABS is at 230 degrees. For PLA I've been putting it up to 200. It's a bit higher than standard. It's within the range rated for the PLA, but yeah, I've actually ran out of PLA now. I'll probably just continue using ABS while I can get a supply, but I'm going to try and find a supply of the pellets so I can make my own filament. But yeah, that's a future thing. Unfortunately, the original supplier I was going to supply that through, they went broke, I think, and luckily PayPal was able to reimburse me. The only other thing I've got to do is this power supply that's currently sitting right next to the machine will have to be mounted in some fashion, and then it'll be easy just to pick the whole machine up and move it around. Well, it's fairly simple now because I'm only going to pick up the machine and the power supply separately, rather than have to pick up 3 or 4 things at once or disconnect a heap of stuff, which makes it more portable because obviously I don't want it to be running in my lounge for the next who knows how many years I'm going to use it for. So yeah, anyway, this update I think will end. I'll bring another one in the next week or so once I've done some more work on finalising the design of this machine anyway.